Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. And I am just so excited for today's show. We have got Mark McCauley, who is the bass singer with New South over at the Grand Country Music Hall. And so I'm just so excited. He is on the show today. We are just about to Christmas. And so I just want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas. I hope you celebrate the real meaning of Christmas, which is the birth of Jesus. Now, he may have not been actually born on December 25th, but that's when we celebrate it in the United States. And that is great news for us, that God would send his son to come to this earth and then eventually die for us and die for our sins, so that we have the opportunity to put our faith and trust in him and then can have eternal life and spend that eventually with him in heaven. So if you're not familiar with that story, I'd encourage you to check it out, because it is the most important story out there and one of the most important historical events ever. And he's coming back again one day soon. Here's the deal. You still have just a little bit of time to come to Branson. So if you haven't made it here for Christmas, guess what? You can come right after Christmas. A lot of things will be open. A lot of shows will still be going. Silver Dollar City's going. The Christmas light drive-thrus are going. So you can still come. And so we would encourage you to do that. And once again, we want to just thank you for being part of Play Branson this year. And so as we wrap this season just about up, we've got, I think, one more episode before the end of the year. We just want to say thank you for watching Play Branson. And we'll be back in just a second. Hang tight. You're going to love it. Mark McCauley.
The Christmas season is a perfect time for family traditions, and Branson's Lights of Joy, Branson's all-LED Christmas display drive-thru, is a great way to create those lasting Christmas memories. Whether you're young or young at heart, this is the perfect Christmas experience. We've got the perfect cure for cabin fever. It's time to get out and catch the Christmas spirit. Enjoy the lights from the comfort of your own car. Discover over 250 different Christmas displays and an amazing drive-through tunnel with state-of-the-art lighting. Branson's Lights of Joy is located just north of Sight and Sound Theater on Expressway Lane. Open nightly through January 2nd. Santa loves these lights and will be there on select nights. Visit lightsofjoydrivethru.com for more info and to book online.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson. And today, for the first time ever on the show, we have the one, the only Mr. Mark McCauley. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend. Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you here.
My
and
pleasure.
I know we've been trying to get you for a long time, and so it's great to have you on the show. Mm-hmm. You've been in Branson here a long time, but take us way back. How did you get into this business, and how did that career path look?
Oh, wow. Well, it goes back to gospel music. And when I was about 13 years old, I saw my first bass singer in person, and I was immediately infatuated with it. They were the Inspirations Quartet.
Oh, wow.
And I told my grandma as I left that night I wanted to be a bass singer one day, and I hope I was going to have that voice, like my dad has, by the way. He's a bass singer in his own time. But I pursued gospel music, and at 16 years old, I believe it was, I got my first quartet.
Oh, wow.
And I graduated early out of high school and hit the road. Living my dream.
Wow,
you know,
at a young age.
Very young age.
Wow.
And learned a lot of lessons, how it is out on the road, and learned a lot about the business, and was really happy with that. I kind of expanded there's a lot of groups I hadn't even heard,
Mm-hmm.
but when I got out and heard these different bass singers, J.D. Sumner, and met these guys, and gosh, George Johnson was a great friend over the years. Mm-hmm. I met him when I was 17, but basically, if I had to put it in a nutshell, all I ever wanted to do was spread this gospel music that was so impactful on me as a child. Mm. And I've been blessed to be able to do that. I'm still doing it. Mm. I always say it was a great hobby that I had as a teenager that got way out of hand.
Yeah.
And now I've been doing it. Well, just in Branson, I'm coming up on 40 years.
Yeah.
But I had also, I had about 8 to 10 years. About 8 years in Nashville.
Okay.
We had a show very similar to the Grand Jubilee on Music Row. And we had a couple of hit songs actually on the Billboard charts, Lo and Behold and things like that. But I wound up getting into country music. I hope I'm not going on too far here, but
No, you're fine.
wound up joining up with Mel Tillis for 10 years. 10 of the 40 I was here in Branson.
Okay.
Sang with Loretta Lynn for about 5 years and just had a blast. I mean, Mel was a great guy to work for. Loretta is, boy, she's one of a kind, you know.
So did you tour, or did you toured all over with her?
I toured all over with her. In fact, occasionally she calls me, and I mean, it's weird. I never really think about it, but I'll get a call from her organization. They'll say, hey, Mark, Loretta wants you to sing at the Ryman with her in 2 weeks. And I'll be like, I'll say, okay. And and they'll say, okay, see you there. So
you just have to show up.
I just show up. Now with Mel, it was he was a military man. So we knew where we were going to be 6 months in advance, where we'd be eating dinner, what room I'd have. You know, it's just differences of people. But I really loved working with Loretta. I sang with her at the Ryman a couple of years ago, at the original Ryman Auditorium. And then that was on the A&E channel or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. They'll call occasionally.
So with Mel, you were at his theater here in Branson, but then when he toured, you would go with him then
Yes,
as well.
at that point in time, we were mostly, 6 to 8 months a year at that time. And we would go out and go to Las Vegas. We'd go to, Laughlin, Nevada. All that was new for me. But we would, it was just a whole different world. I could look out and there'd be, Billy Bob Thornton would be in the audience, Jerry Lewis, all these people, that I never saw in my previous. Yeah. You would have, we had the president of Indonesia come one time with the security up on the building. It's crazy the people you would meet.
Wow.
So it was quite an experience, and it was a beautiful theater over there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it, but there's a whole underground subterranean world under that theater just as large. Wow. It's a huge building.
Well, there was always this rumor, and there was rumors on several Branson theaters that they were designed to have gambling in them. I don't know if you ever remember hearing those rumors, but
I have heard them, but honest to goodness, I can't confirm any of it. I don't know. Nobody told me.
Yeah. Well, in that theater, of course, they had the rain curtain there, and all that kind of
stuff.
stuff.
Snow. You could snow. I think what I do know is that it was kind of designed to have television production facilities below. That's why we had all the, there was talk about hosting television shows. I don't know about that.
So was Loretta after Mel or before Mel?
I got the job with Mel afterwards, and we had sang together on the Jerry Lewis Telethon. I was singing with Loretta, and that's where I met Mel, who was co-hosting with Jerry.
Okay.
And then one night I was sitting in the Lone Star Steakhouse, and Loretta had just pulled up and left Branson. I was singing, I think, with the Blackwood Gospel Quartet part-time and singing with Loretta, and then Mooney got sick, and she just left. And I was talking to my wife. I said, well, I guess it's time to look for a job. And I looked over in the corner. This is a true story. I looked over in the corner, and there was Mel Tillis, and I just walked by him, and I said, hi, Mel, I'm Mark McCauley. He said, I'm not making fun of him. He said, you sang with Loretta? I said, yeah. And I said, if you're ever looking for a bass singer, let me know. He said, well, we're thinking about it.
Oh, my gosh.
And so it kind of went from there.
Wow.
And I got to tell you this one quick story, but I didn't hear from him for quite a while. So I thought, well, I'm just going to drop in, and I walked into the big Mel Tillis office, and I said, hi, I'm Mark McCauley. The lady didn't say anything to me. She just picked up the phone and said, Mel, Mark's here. And she said, he said, come on back. And so I walked in. A lot of people don't know if he really stutters, but no, he really does.
Yeah.
And so I walked in, and I was like, hi, Mel. I started to go through the whole deal, and he was sitting behind the desk just like you, just like this. He picks up a piece of paper and puts it under my foot and starts drawing this picture around my foot. And I was like, where's the camera? Is this? He never said a word. Never said a word. A guy comes in and starts measuring my suit, and it was the most bizarre thing. Here's Mel Tillis. He was kind of a movie star to me.
Right.
But here's Mel Tillis drawing this picture. Never said a word. He's drawing this picture around my boot. And he made me 13 customized pairs of boots, and I think it was 17 suits.
Wow.
I guess that means.
So that was kind of how you got the job.
That's how I got the job. He never said you're hired. He just said, what size are you?
Oh my gosh.
It's a true story.
See, I love those stories though, because it's just, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and so you were with Mel until he stopped in Branson. Is that right?
I left just previous to it.
Okay.
Right at the very end. You know, I love. Don't get me wrong. I love the job. You know, and we did have a quartet and a good quartet behind him. But I got in touch with Mike Patrick, who's a great, probably best boss I ever had. I'll tell you. And he was wanting to put a quartet into Grand Country, and I believe he approached me at that point in time, if I could recall, I can't remember. But it was a great place to work. I saw there's people here every night, and I'm going out to work in North Dakota in the wintertime, and I thought, well, that's kind of a cool place. So long story short, he told me about the concept, and I didn't know Mike. But the night I come in to watch the show, I was actually watching another show he was doing, and I watched how he handled that, and I thought he really put that together well, and I thought I could work with this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it after 20 years now.
There we go. Okay, that's a great place for us to stop. We're going to be back in just a second with more with Mark McCauley. Stay tuned.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We're talking to Mark McCauley today, and if you watched the first segment, it was awesome. And so Mark, you've been now at Grand Country, you said, for about 20 years.
Yes.
And so maybe somebody is watching the show today that has never been to Grand Country, never done, they don't have any idea. And so tell people about the show and what it's like.
Well, I'll tell you, it's designed to have something for everybody. And I was just commenting to Mark here about sometimes I'm really amazed at, I'm talking about those guys, the amount of talent that's in there. But it's designed that, you know, we have a comedian, we have a female vocalist, we got an absolutely incredible band. New South is stronger than ever, strong as ever. And we have a great time. Mike takes care of all the headaches, so we get to selfishly go out there and just sing to the people, you know. But there's comedy in it. There's almost like parts where it's Saturday Night Live meets, you know, maybe Mayberry or something.
Yeah, there's some definitely crazy stuff.
Yeah, some crazy things going on. And I would say in all the shows I've ever been in, when I'm interacting with the people, there's more people that say that's the best show we've ever seen, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't argue with that.
And so you're part of the group New South.
New South.
That is a quartet that performs in the show. And so talk about New South, because you guys do a variety of stuff.
We do. I would say, you know, that a lot of the songs we might do, of course, are cover songs. We're not in the music business to push our own music. So naturally we are influenced by my heroes, the Oak Ridge Boys, the Statler Brothers, Alabama. So we wind up doing a lot of that. A couple of the guys are, you know, bred quartetters like myself and David were raised up in the quartet world. You know, he was in the Inspirations and I was in gospel music for many years. So we bring sort of that gospel aspect to it. The other two guys are just flat up great. I mean, Eric has got we tried him out, but I got to say he really shocked me how good a job he's doing.
Because he's the newest member.
He's our newest member, a baritone, and man, he just blew me out of the water. He's just got a great work ethic. He's a low drama dude, and I like those kind of dudes, you know. Luke is just like, he's probably my favorite tenor singer right now, and I don't say that lightly. But the other thing about it, we've all got sensitive humor, very much like third graders. In fact, I call Luke a kind of a third grader a lot of times on stage.
Yeah.
But he's always having fun, and it's just I'm almost embarrassed how much fun we have.
Yeah.
You see, in that back room, it's just like a bunch of third graders.
Yeah. On an average year, how many shows are you doing?
Well.
Because you guys don't get a lot of time off.
Let me tell you the shows we don't do. We don't do a week in January, however the theater is covered with another show, and we don't do a week in August. Every other day except Sundays is covered.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 shows we do on Thursday, 2 shows on Friday. So you add those, those 2 more shows per week. I don't have my calculator, but that's a lot of shows.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing over 300 shows.
Oh yeah. And the gospel show has really been surprisingly well attended. I mean, nobody really expected it with a gospel show in Branson, but it's, I enjoy it. That's what I used to do, and the people are there for that. The television show, it used to be a radio show, and it's apparently going quite a few places. I wouldn't try to give you the numbers on it.
Yeah. So you, besides your main show, you're filming a television show.
Yes.
That is actually on TV, unlike PlayBranson. And so people could, they could be at their home in Minnesota
Yes.
and happen to see you on a television network. And what is the name of that show called?
Branson Country USA, and you can look for it on your search. I don't know what all different kinds of networks it's on, but I've had people from California say they've seen us in California. I've had people from Florida, my home state. So I know it's out there.
Yeah. So when you're not performing, what do you like to do?
Well, I enjoy martial arts.
Really?
Yeah. And I've studied that for about 35 years now.
Are you like a black belt?
Yeah, I have a black belt.
Okay. Don't mess with him.
I have other belts too, in different styles. But
Okay.
Tracy's system of Kenpo karate is where I have my black belt, my first love. And for fun. I mean, our viewpoint is to know every art, to be familiar with every art. So I've taken Rosenbach Warrior Training Branch, which was kind of ninjutsu type style, Wing Chun Kung Fu, and I have belts in all those. Not black belts, but I have I've accumulated some different belts just for general knowledge. Slight amount of Aikido, all for fun.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, when you get a black belt, I call that the first learner. Now you can be a first learner because you've got this mountain out of the way, and now you can just relax. You see, because I've got the black belt, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Now I can just learn at my own leisure.
Yeah.
And I'm working on 2nd degree black at this point in Kenpo.
I've been to the Grand Country Show numerous times, and one of the things that I've often found very interesting is there's a lot of variety, but Mike Patrick, he can just throw people's names in there at a whim and just work them into the show. And I've been there where he's done that, and he's thrown my name into the show. And I'm like I just think that's really, a lot of the guys have been there for a long time. So, and we've had a lot of them on stage. I went to high school with Wayne.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a few guys we have not had on the show yet. So Gene's one of them. Gene, you're going to be next. And so there's a few others that we haven't had on the show. Now, besides singing, you are also now have done a lot of vocal work. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, voiceover work. Real briefly, I had a lady in town, Janet King Evans, a very professional lady, told me for years, you've got to get into voice work. And I think she was the State Farm girl.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I built a studio and had to learn all the Pro Tools, et cetera, and started getting into voice work. And oh my goodness, I'll come home and I'll have an order for, like, believe it or not, to read poetry. And I go home and read a couple of stanzas of poetry and get paid for it.
Yeah.
And I get to be, I've always kind of wanted to act a little bit, but I didn't know if I really wanted to play that game. But I get to be an actor in my little studio.
Yeah.
And I've been everything from space captains to superheroes to the funniest thing I can think of would be that as a joke one time I did a British accent. Now I can't tell you how to do that, but I stay busy doing British accents. Don't ask me how to do it, but if you turn your head this way, it'll happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. So I even get calls from, it's worldwide things, like from England. I get a lot of people in England think that I'm British, or
Yeah. So somewhere you have, people can hear your voice, or they find out about you somehow.
Yeah, sometimes. By the way, I did Tony the Tiger the other day.
Oh my gosh.
And also, I'm in a game called I just forgot the name of it, Fallout 4.
Okay.
And one of the mods, which is a really popular game, and I'm Eli the Cowboy, and it's basically just me. And
Yeah.
And I'm also in a little mod now. It's called a mod, where they redo the game, and I'm a priest. And it's just crazy what I'll come up with.
Yeah.
I never know what I'm going to be that night. A monster. I do a lot of monsters.
Monsters. And I do have in my notes here that you portrayed the voice of God for Yakov Smirnoff's show for a couple of years.
I do a lot of God's voices.
Yeah. So you got that. Most people think God would have a deep voice, you know, I mean, that's just what people think, you know. So it makes sense. So folks, if you need a voiceover, Mark McCauley here could maybe help you out. He's done it all. And well, we just really appreciate you taking your time to come on the show and kind of share some stories with us. And man, I've just loved getting to talk to you and getting to know more about your history today.
Well, we've been friends a while, buddy, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
So folks, go see them go see New South out at the Grand Country Music Hall, Grand Country Jubilee, and most evenings it's at what time?
7:30.
7:30. There you go. 7:30. You can grab a bite to eat there at their buffet and then head in for the show. And I guarantee you're going to have a great time and you're going to laugh and you're going to smile. And if you don't, you've got a problem. So we'll be back in just a minute with more. Hey folks, we're wrapping the show up today. We want to thank you for watching. We want to thank Mark McCauley for coming out. I loved some of the stories he shared, and that's what this show is really all about, is getting to know more and hear those good stories. You're going to find Mark over at the Grand Country Music Hall. He's doing a couple different shows over there, but the one that's there the most is the Grand Country Jubilee. You're going to have a great time at that variety show. They're going to start back up December 27th. They're going to go through January 1st, and then they'll be back on January 13th. So they don't get a lot of time off. They're some of the hardest working entertainers in Branson. Next week's show, we have a different show next week. We're going to have Marshall Howden on. And so Marshall has been a strong advocate for the show community. He's actually been in shows in Branson in the past, and so we're going to talk to him to wrap up the season. If you're still thinking about coming to Branson this year, you can, and you can go to ibranson.com and you can book your entire Branson vacation on there, or you can call them at 877-ENTERTAIN. And guess what? It's not too early to start thinking about coming back to Branson for next spring. Branson's a great place to come for spring break, so start putting your thinking caps on about coming here even then. So we'll see you next week here on Play Branson.